Okay, welcome back everybody. It's great to have y'all here. Now this video is a milestone because it marks the last build video in this series. I think we're on number 30. We closing in on almost 3 years of work to complete this project. First off, before we get too far into it, I want to thank my good friends over at Simply Safe for sponsoring the video. I'm going to share more about them in a little bit. And I also want to share a bit of a personal story with you guys. But we'll cover that here in a little bit. Now, originally I had planned on sharing the final trip with you guys. To give you the timeline, a little over a week ago, we took the Argosy to the beach. We did our first maiden voyage trip, and everything for the most part went off without any issues. A few small problems, mostly due to the fact that I don't know anything about the RV setup, and I made a few big mistakes at the RV site. But you're going to see that in a separate video. This video, we're going to cover this table. It's such a cool table. The last piece to this build, really, I just had to make a build video for it. So we're going to jump in and get started on building this. Before we get into this, though, this really awesome, cool first shelf behind me, we need to finish the build on that. That was started in the previous video, and we kind of stopped in the beginning. We did the bent lambs, and now we're going to take it out and complete it. And then we'll jump into this really cool dinette table, which also... Oh, that was supposed to be so slick. Sorry. Come on. There it goes. It also converts into the front bed. Now, I'm not going to let this go too far because it'll crush my legs. But it's pretty slick. It's on a pneumatic lift, and press of a button, it goes up and down. Let's jump in and get started on this video. Alright, so per the usual on this camper, everything is difficult, nothing is easy. Every little task I do is harder than I think it'll be, and these, well, to begin with, I set myself up for a huge challenge trying to do a bent lamination around this curve here. And I thought I had it. This side actually fits in here pretty dang well. This side, on the other hand, is way off. So, Airstream somehow managed to get two different radiuses on the ends by quite a bit. So I checked the jig. I mean, I built everything off of this curve, and I kind of double checked it here, but I didn't think it was this bad. But man, there's a pretty sizable gap there. It's hard to see with this light, but I can get my fingers in there, and it's no bueno. So I've been sitting here thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to fix this? Because I'm definitely not remaking this and not making another jig. I think what I've come up with is this. I'm going to take a flush trimming bit and a router. I'm going to go ahead and thickness this a little bit so I have a good flat surface. And I'm going to ride that bit on the bench here. And we're going to cut an exact match to this front curve on the front edge. Now, the problem you'll run into is you've got these bent laminations. You're going to cut through them, and it's going to look pretty ugly. So we'll have to come back and add a piece to it. But we'll get the front curve matched up, and then we'll come back and we're gonna have to add pieces to this back. So basically we're changing the curve. We're taking it off the front and we're gonna add to the back, and we'll shape it. Help me do a few more passes real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I just need to get them like flat. well. We definitely made a pretty good mess in here. Oh, I got kids' toys down here. We'll get that cleaned up. This isn't the prettiest looking thing right now. It looks pretty rough, but you can see how we've taken that cut back. This is a little mess up. I did not originally want to screw it down on this end because this is not going to cut off, and it actually pulled away and cut in further than I needed it to. So we'll have to fix that. Oh, there's gonna be a lot of work to do still on this front edge, but this gets me kind of started, gets the bulk of that material off. So let's get this unscrewed, head into the shop, get pieces glued on the back, let that set up so tomorrow we can come in and fix that back curve. Do this one now?
Yeah.
It's a little heavier, but whoa. Alright, put your hand there. Pretty cool, huh? One of the shavings? Good job, Bubba. We want right now. Let's go back to this one.
Are there another one, those?
No, we got the ones we need. See, this one makes real heavy cuts. You see how thick the shaving is? And then that one makes finer cuts. Okay, so this is little Judd here. He was helping me hand plane. He's a little camera shy. He's gonna hide out down here. He's helping me hand plane on that bench shelf. I want to share kind of a bit of a real personal story actually with you guys. And it's a bit of a segue into today's sponsor, Simply Safe. Now, about 4 weeks ago, we had a real scary incident with Judson in our pool. I don't want to share too many details because it's actually been a really hard chapter for my family, especially for my wife. And I know she'll watch this. So basically, he got into the pool. He didn't have his floaties on, and my wife found him, pulled him out, did CPR on him, and you know, she saved his life. She's a hero, and it was a miracle in the whole grand scheme of things. Just an amazing miracle. He did have to go on a trip in an ambulance. He spent the night at a hospital, but he came home and everything is good. We've just kind of dealt with the trauma of it. It was a really hard situation, especially for my wife. So to help her feel better and give her a little bit more peace of mind, Simply Safe, who has been an amazing sponsor over the last 4 or 5 years of this channel, has provided us with an outdoor camera. Now, I already have one of these on my shop. It monitors all of my property here where the Argosy is parked, kind of the side of the house and then the entry to the shop. And now we're going to mount one up on the deck overlooking the pool. Now, Simply Safe is an award-winning security system that monitors your home from theft, fire, water damage, freeze, multiple things. It has an interactive monitoring app that you put on your phone. It connects to the system and it gives you notifications basically on anything happening on your property. It has HD cameras, exterior HD cameras, indoor HD cameras. You've got door entry sensors, glass break sensors, motion detectors, water sensors, freeze sensors, fire sensors, smoke sensors. So there's a wide range of protection that you can put over your home. So let's go over to the pool right now and get that camera hooked up. Now the HD camera has a 1080p HD video and it has a 140-degree ultra-wide field of view. Basically, the setup is super easy. Pop it out of the box. It has a battery that you have to charge. Pop that battery into the camera, get your app out on your phone, and everything is just super easy from there. The app walks you through the process of connecting the camera, getting it connected to Wi-Fi, and then once you have that connection made, you can mount the camera. When you mount the camera, I highly recommend that you go into live view mode, which the app provides a pretty easy direction into doing this. and that way as you're mounting it you can kind of twist it and get the field of view exactly to cover what you need. So once I got it all set up and mounted, I made sure that my wife understood how to use it. And I know that's going to give her a little bit of peace of mind that she can check on that pool 24/7. If there's any motion out there, any person walking around that pool, she's going to get that notification. It might frighten her a little bit, but at least she can pull it up, see what's going on, and take action from there. So I just want to share that with you guys and how SimpliSafe has been an awesome supporter of the channel and how their products have integrated into our life. Now, the great thing, if you have a family like me, if you have a pool, you know, I highly recommend you getting this outdoor camera, this whole system. SimpliSafe is offering my viewers 20% off on your first system. All you got to do is sign up for the interactive monitoring service, which is really a crucial part of the whole system. That allows you to connect your cameras and all that to your phone app and have everything there at the touch of your finger to monitor. So head on over to SimpliSafe. I put the link in the description. You guys can go over there. Not only do you get an awesome product for yourselves, but you help support my channel when you visit them and when you purchase from them. So huge thanks to SimpliSafe. Let's move on now to the build of this awesome table. Okay, real quick, we got the cushion in. Looks great. Excited about that. I'm trying not to mess it up. Catching you up on this shelf. So we've got this side fitted. This one already fit good. I've already pre-cut, kind of rough to length there. So I put dominoes in the ends of these, and I've already made this cut to seam these two. And the dominoes are just gonna hold them flat. I'm not gonna glue it. I thought about gluing it together, but I think I'll just leave them in two different pieces. And then I'm gonna lay out now for a bunch of screws. I'm gonna go ahead and screw it in place. And then we'll flush trim the front to the bench, and then from there we'll do some sanding and work, edge work, and then I've got to add the extensions off the ends.
Daddy, do you want to watch this?
Okay, so jumping into this table build, it is basically three components. You've got the center 24-inch diameter table, and then you've got the two outside leaves that slide in and out. There's a huge pocket in this, and these attach. So you can use this in three different setups. You can just use the circle table. You know, if there's one or two people using the camper, you don't need probably more than just this. You can use only one leaf. So that gives you a lot more access to the bench, a place to kind of relax over here, and then plenty of room to eat. Or if you've got me, if you've got the whole family in the RV, we set up the whole thing and we can all sit on this back row and eat off of it. And also when you set it up as a bed, it needs to be the full length, obviously. So let's start with this centerpiece. This is made out of 3/4 inch plywood stacked on another piece of 3/4 with 3/16 aluminum that I had left over from the wheel wells. So I decided just to use that. And basically we designed this up in Fusion 360 in CAD, and we use the CNC to cut out that middle piece of plywood to create, that'll create the pockets we need to attach the leaves. And once we cut that out, it's real easy from that point. I've already used the CNC to cut out the circle for the bottom piece. So I just start putting everything together. I can rough out the aluminum top on the bandsaw. The great thing about working with aluminum is it's soft enough to use woodworking tools, so we can cut it on the bandsaw, countersink the holes, get it all attached and screwed together, and then come back with a flush trimming bit and actually just flush trim that aluminum and cut it nice and, you know, perfect circle matching the plywood. The reason that I did it this way, for one, is the aluminum's going to be durable. It's going to be easy to clean, but it's also very strong in the sense that this leaf is going to put a lot of downward, you know, there's a lot of leverage coming up on this. So I wanted, if I used wood here, I was a little bit worried about splitting. So I wanted something strong to hold, be able to hold these leaves in place, especially when you set it up as a bed. Now, for the outside pieces, we use some beautiful quarter sawn sycamore that I had, my personal kind of stash of material. I had this log cut last year and it's dry, and the great thing about the quarter sawn is it's stable, so it should stay relatively flat. If this was a flat sawn piece of wood, there's a lot of humidity shifts that happen in this camper. It would eventually bow and it wouldn't fit into the pockets anymore. It would become a real pain. So far, the quarter sawn has stayed really stable and flat, and I can get it in and out of these pockets without any real issues. The first thing we had to do is get it all dimensioned and glued up. So we're book matched and we've got a glue joint right down the middle. We get it glued up for width, and then from there we can put it up, cut them to size. That's the great thing about the CNC, because it can accurately cut this radius to match the radius of this table. That way everything slides together and looks nice and clean. Now I could do this with routers and jigs, but it would take so much longer. So we just fired up the CNC, cut that radius, cut the little tabs that are going to slide in. I mean, those are about, I think, 8 to 9 inches long. So you've got a lot of material in the table that's really giving it some strength. Now the tricky part was getting the fit. Now I purposely did not put a shoulder on the bottom side of the joint. There's a shoulder up top that matches the thickness of the aluminum, so that stays fairly flush. It's not perfect, but it's, for what we want, it's good enough. But I left the shoulder off the bottom so that way we could just send it through the wide belt, take thickness off of it, and dial in the fit to the pocket on this table. What happened is they're a little loose fitting in here, and they actually have a little bit of a play in them. Now, I would have preferred to get a little bit tighter because there is a slight bit of drop on the outsides. I'm not overly concerned because this is an RV table, and it's already, after one trip, got stains in it and all that. So I'm not going to beat myself up over that. Also, the advantage to having a bit of a loose fit is it's much easier to get these in and out, as you know, I don't want it to be a challenge even for my wife to be able to slide it in and get it in place. Okay, I might have covered this in a previous video, but I cannot remember. But basically the way this works is you've got a connection here. I've just kind of torn out a hole basically and run wire up through here and then down into this cabinet. There's a steel cross member here, which is good. So I realized as I was doing this that I need to move it in a position to get 2 screws, or as many screws, into that as possible. So I've kind of marked right here where my screw, where it needs to, the hole for the screw needs to line up to hit steel. That way we can at least get a few of these into actual frame, which I think will make it even more sturdy. Now, the great thing about this pedestal, and it's worked out really well, is I need to paint the screws. It's kind of ugly, but you know, like I said, we got 2 in the front, and then we've got a whole bunch loaded up in there. And this is pretty darn stable. I'm gonna let this go all the way down because it'll go all the way to this position. And then, you know, this thing is not moving. It is rock solid. And when you drive down the road, you don't have to worry about it getting shaken around, things getting messed up. So what we'll do is we'll raise it up a little bit. So I've just got a controller. So I'm going to stop it right here. We'll put the leaves back on and I'll show you how it becomes a bed. So we'll start with this one. It just kind of goes. It's usually kind of difficult to get it started, but once you kind of get it in place, it slides right in. It slides right in. Just like so. So in this position here, we've got basically table setup. So in order for it to become a bed, we're going to drop it down to bed height. So we'll bring it down and I just eyeball it to the level of the cushion. What I'm going to do to improve this is one of the things I want to tell you about how I want to improve it, is I want to put a lip on the front of the bench that sticks out that this will actually drop onto. And then I'll put locator pins, and I'll show you right now why I need those locator pins, because these need to slide out. I need to have 75 inches of length in order for this to support the mattress. So these have to slide out, you know, and hang off a little bit. Now they do get pretty, you know, kind of unsupported here. So that's why we have the straps off the wall. Those can clip right into the end, and then it's pretty well supported at this point. I'll do the same on the other side. Out, and I'll probably occasionally have to put wax on this just to kind of keep it lubed up and working good. Once I get it clipped, I can slide it in until it kind of catches here, and now my length here is matched up to there, and you've got a surface now to throw your mattress on. That's how it works. You've got a bed now. We've got sheets that will fit over all of this. And when you put the sheets on, that mattress isn't going to come off. And our two boys can sleep on it and no problem. So it works really, really well. And, you know, it's a bit of work to set up and do a few things. We're going to turn it into a table real quick. I'm going to show you a few things there I want to change and improve on that. Okay, so as it raises up, this thing is automatically dialed in to stop at 30, which is tabletop height, but you can set it wherever you want. You just tell it to stop. Now, the challenge now is if you want a full-length table, which is super nice to have, it's a little bit tricky to get in and out. It's actually super difficult, and on our first trip, it was somewhat frustrating. So my wife and I actually brought in camping chairs and set here and let the kids crawl under the table. So what I'm going to do is get some nice hinges, flush mount hinges that can go here. We'll cut a curve about here, and we'll have a latch on this, and it'll just be able to fold down that length and then just pick it up and clip it back in place. So you can enter on one side. This side will probably just stay the way it is, and that way you can get in and out. So the only changes that need to make are the lip on the front of the bench to catch the top with a locating pin. And then I need to cut this and put the hinges on and allow that to fold down so you can get in and out. Other than that, this really came out really good. I haven't decided, because basically right now, the weight, when it's a bed, the weight is being held by this. You know, and this is only attached to this aluminum sheet metal. It's a little bit it's not quite as much strength as I would like for it to have. So if you get someone who carelessly comes in and like jumps on it right there, you might just bend things and tear up that wall. So I'm considering scratching this idea. I might try first putting a few more screws in just to give it more support. But I'm considering scratching that and just putting legs that kind of can support it, and it'll be on legs, which I like. I prefer to have that, but I also don't want to destroy my wall. So tossing around ideas on that. Other than that, man, it came out looking great, and I am so pumped. And it functioned and worked great as well when we went camping. Okay, real quick, last thing I want to share with you, the closing, really the last touch on this were these curtains. And Emily and I really kind of went back and forth on how we were going to do this. I was actually going to see if my mother-in-law would make them, which would not be an easy task. And so I started looking online for ways to do this, and I found this company called Kurtara, who makes custom curtains, and they did an amazing job. I reached out to them and told them what I was doing. You just go on their website. You can type in, you find the fabric you want. If you want blackout curtains, these are blackout, so they have a back liner on them. So they're going to block out any light. They look nice from the outside because we used a white liner. Matches the white paint. Put in our dimensions. We were 28 tall by I think 53 wide, and we needed 4 of those. And then once you do that, I specifically called and asked them to do a double pleat. So what I mean by that is you can get it. Usually they make curtains with just the top pleat, and then the bottom is nothing. But with the Airstream curtains, I think the new ones actually come with the pleat on top and bottom. And so I just asked them, hey, will you put the pleat on the bottom as well? Which they did for me. And so I want to link them and share them. They're in the description. You guys can go to their website, custom size the curtains you need. And I would specifically tell them, hey, I found you guys through Andy Rawls, and I want to do curtains like him. And I think they'll figure it out. The one thing you're going to have to do that they don't do is every Airstream, we have these extruded aluminum tracks. They all work off these little plastic clips, and these are newer clips, but the same clips as the originals. The ones I pulled off these tracks when I bought this camper had these exact same things. None of the elastic was with them, but I bought these on Woodland RV. I bought 88 of them, which wasn't enough. I come to find out that you're probably going to need one for every single pleated section, and I didn't know how many I was going to have, so I'm going to have to add more. My awesome mother-in-law, thank you so much. She took the time to sew all these on for me, and she's going to do the rest of them when we get them in. But so these will just slide in here like this, and that elastic kind of allows a little bit of stretch and play to them. They actually work pretty well. I put a little bit of Teflon lubricant in the track to help it. There's a little bit of trouble getting over these this stuff here, the clips or the window hooks, but they bunch up here, and Kurtara gives you these little dudes. I don't know what, I'm no interior designer, I don't know what you call these, but we could put a clip up here and that would hold them back in the closed position. You got 53 inches, so it's quite a bit to bunch up there, but in the open position, that's what you get. And then when you're ready to have a little privacy, you just grab it at the top and bottom, slides right around, and boom, you got curtains. That's it, man. So if you need curtains for your Airstream, one thing is make sure that you keep the original track. You can get new extruded aluminum track. I don't know how well it works bending it around the radius, so I had the original track and remounted it all. Then you just need to get the curtains made by Kurtara and get your clips, and you're set. Okay, friends, so that is a wrap. If you're still with me on this video, I really appreciate you sticking it out this long. It was a bit of a long one, but I really wanted to share that table with you guys. I thought it was a pretty cool build and how we put it all together and how it converts into a bed. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I had originally planned on giving you guys our first trip footage, but I'm going to hold off on that. We're going to have that coming real soon. I also mentioned in the video, the beginning of the video, that this kind of marks the end of this journey, and in a sense it does. I'm not going to be doing steady build videos on this camper anymore, but I am going to continue to bring you content about the camper, including real soon a video overviewing the total cost of the project, a few specs on it, things I would have done differently, things I learned. I think that would be a pretty valuable video. Also, I want to share several of the amazing companies that I was able to work with and partner with in building this camper. I want to share a video on that and kind of share some of my favorite products that went into the restoration. So the content's still going to come. I also have a massive punch list of things to do to actually finish it. So we're only about 80%, maybe 85% of the way there. Still a lot to do. So even though this kind of feels like the end, it's not really the end. I'm going to be bringing more content to you guys and sharing more about this camper. So just not going to be quite as steady and regular as it usually was. So for those of you who have been here and watched this restoration, I just want to say a huge thanks. So many of the comments were encouraging and helpful, and there was points where I didn't want to continue doing this. It was a really difficult road, and I'm going to share more about all that in the upcoming videos. But I think one thing that really helped me out with y'all's positive comments, just helping me give a little push to keep going. So I appreciate you guys. I can't tell you how thankful I am, and big thanks to Simply Safe for sponsoring the video. Appreciate you tuning in. Now, before I sign off, there's one person that needs a big thank you and pat on the back. Okay, this is what I want you guys to do. On the count of 3, I want y'all to say thanks, Pop, really loud, because Pop without even being asked, showed up and helped restore this whole camper with us. And without him, we wouldn't even be able to do this. So you guys, on 3. You got it?
Yeah,
1.
can we scream out so loud that
Yes.
we can wake up everyone?
On 3. Scream as loud as you want. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Pop!
Thanks, Pop. We love you, and we appreciate all the hard work you put into this. And we wish you could have come with us on the first trip. We'll have to take the boys out, the 4 of us, sometime soon.
That's no
It's time to hit the road. We got 5 hours back to Bernie. We had a blast. We have many adventures to come in this camper. And I'm just glad I'm done working on it. Well, for the most part. We've got some things to do.
Couple things.
Couple things.